as someone that is up.
Hello, radiant souls. I am your host, Angela Ahimsa, and you've tuned in to Feed Your Chakras, which is streaming worldwide on Jess TV, Roku, Meta, and the NCG television network. And today's very special guest is Gurujus, who is a Grammy Award-winning artist, a yogi, a visionary voice behind White Sun, and through her devotion to sacred sound and the science of mantra, she's becoming a guiding light for those seeking harmony between the seen and the unseen, a bridge between frequency, consciousness, and divine creativity. So in today's conversation, we're going to journey into the heart of sound itself, exploring how vibration shapes reality and how devotion refines the artist within, and how music can awaken the soul to its highest potential. So thank you so much for joining us today, Gurujus.
Oh my gosh, Angela, thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy to be here. I was actually with you guys a few years ago, and I'm so glad we were able to keep in touch and that we can talk again today. Thank you.
Beautiful, yeah. So you know what's so funny? She and I were having a little bit of tech problems before we came on today. So I pulled a card for Jessie, who is our producer, and it was voice today. All about the frequency of sound and using your voice as medicine. And I was like, how freakishly appropriate. So I just wanted to tell you that. I actually pulled one, and then that one kind of came out with it. And I'm like, I'm going to pull it too. And I never do two. So maybe that was for me. And today.
Wow. Well, that makes me feel good. I love those signs from the universe. The Matrix sends us these little sparks, and I always enjoy that. That's cool.
That's how I live my life. I'm like, it's a sign, I'm going.
It's nice to have like the magical existence, I sometimes think of how we really have the choice to live in the kind of transparent realities with the physical reality, or just live in the physical reality. And I think just the five senses are a little boring, we want to be in touch with the magic.
That's
and as you
so pretty.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
Beautiful. No, I'm glad we're in alignment on that.
Definitely.
So you've been a pioneer of high frequency music, which is my kind of music, by the way.
Oh, I'm so glad.
That term, and how does it differ energetically or creatively from traditional music? Like, I don't listen to the mainstream music. I listen to medicine music. So I would like to hear your definition of it.
Oh, that's so nice. Well, if I were to put it as simply as I possibly could, I would say that I feel like mainstream music, in simple terms, it does move us. It moves our energy, but it moves us emotionally mostly. Mm-hmm. So mostly it's an emotional current that we're on when we listen to popular music. Nothing wrong with that, but that's typically the transmission, right? And the more the music moves our emotions, the more we feel that something's happening, or we relate to the music, or we like the music. With high frequency music, we're moving the emotional bodies, yes, but we're also moving the neurology. We're moving the 10 body system. If people are familiar with the 10 body system, we have, one of my favorite things is the yogis talking about the body as an instrument. And so when we listen to somebody's instrument playing, and that instrument plays itself on our bodies, really major change starts to occur. And if we talk about sound itself, our bodies right now are making trillions of sounds. So we have 30 trillion cells, and there's vibrations in those cells. And there's protons, neutrons, electrons, nucleus in those cells, right? Yogananda talked about lifetrons. Maybe there's lifetrons in the cells. And then we have our heart beating, and we have the blood moving in our veins, and our neurons are firing. And so all of these are vibrations. And so all of these are sounds. And if we think high frequency, we think positive. If something's high frequency, then the things that match a high frequency are bliss, happiness, love, fulfillment, satisfaction. Those are high frequency things. Low frequency would be, of course, the opposite of that: grief, pain, And so when we're listening to low frequency, it's going to put our entire mind-body system in the low frequency realms. And unless we can overpower it, then we're going to start to experience everything that frequency matches those lower realms. If we listen to high frequency music, of course, the opposite is true. We're putting our body in a state where the high frequencies are creating states of being that feel good to us. So we want to open ourselves up to sound as a creative force. Sound creates. Every origin story, every religion, every spiritual path has some kind of technology along those lines, where it teaches that in the beginning there was sound. Even in the Bible, I think hopefully I say this right. In the beginning there was the Word was with God, and the Word was God, right? So every single path we find that sound manifests form and reality. So that's a very long way of saying that's why we listen to high frequency music, because it creates a high frequency reality for us.
Exactly. Yeah. I love that. She's more than a pretty face and a pretty voice. Very eloquently said. You did touch on something. What was it? The 10 laws of
10 bodies.
Okay, can you explain?
Yeah. So I'm part of a very ancient lineage of yogis. That's my personal path, right? We all have our own path on the planet Earth. And the one that has moved me through time and space is the path of Kundalini yoga. And these techniques are between 5,000 and 30,000 years old. And inside these techniques, the yogis gave us from the yogic scriptures. Yogic scriptures are they could be anything from the Upanishads to the Shastras and Smritis and so on. Mm-hmm. And what they said was the first body, we have the body number one is the soul body. And then we have 3 mental bodies. So the negative, positive, neutral minds are the mental bodies. We have a physical body. We have an arc line. So if you go to the museums and you see the beautiful Renaissance paintings of saints and angels, they all have the halos. And we call that an arc line. We call that the nucleus of the aura. We have 7th, 8th, and 9th body, which is pranic body. 7th is auric body, 8th is pranic body, 9th is subtle body, 10th body is the radiance. The radiant body is like your wattage. If you ever see someone walk in a room and all eyes turn to look, that's usually somebody it's not just beauty, it's radiance. It's a radiant body. And then the 11th body, we can add 11 sometimes to the 10, and that's the sound body. So the body of sound. So these are the 10 bodies. And when we're doing it right, then we can move the 10 body system with sound.
Mm-hmm. I love that. And what you also said too, it also correlates, well, everything in life has like the balance. But even with the chakras, right? Like you can have an open chakra, but it could be overactive or underactive. And that's kind of the same, where it's the low vibration or the high vibration, right?
Yeah,
and it's our personal power, and our choice or our destiny is whatever we choose. So it's so important for people to listen to positive music, because it is constantly reprogramming your brain.
So important. And actually, gosh, what you said, that's why Emoto got so famous, is because he could actually show us visually what sound is doing to us, and anybody listening.
So you mentioned it. It's because they listen to my music and me. I sing too.
Yeah, you look like you live in a rainforest. It's so beautiful. I didn't know you sing. I would love to hear your songs.
Oh, well, you know what? I sing very much in private. We could. Maybe we'll have a sing off later on. But I like to sing to music. Like I don't have my own, cover yet. But I've been experimenting, and it's something I've been practicing a lot. And I've been working on my voice, not because I wanted to be a singer, but because it was my weakest chakra. And I was working on it. I was guided to work on it. And then through me working on it, things started happening. And, my father, he had a blocked throat chakra, and I think I inherited his block. But in my healing my own, I also helped heal his, and he passed away recently. And when I was singing, it was like he came to me, and I accessed like a different part of my voice, and he told me that was like a gift from him. It was like I'm getting goosebumps even thinking about it. It was like so beautiful.
Wow.
Yeah. But it's now I feel it's my strength, because now I can advocate for myself. I negotiate, I do things. I'm not afraid to ask, all the things that I was so blocked on before. And it's so funny. I would never have thought it would be my strength because it was my like biggest block, right? And it just goes to show like we can really create our destiny by doing the work. So
wow, I love that. Well, it's I feel what you're saying in your words. Like my observation, looking at you and talking to you, is that your throat chakra is very open, like particularly open. And so, and so when you were saying like I had a block, I was like, where's this going? Because she doesn't anymore. That's really beautiful. And maybe people are watching and they're going, well, what do you mean you feel her throat chakra is open? Well, these are the transparent energies that we talk about, right? It is a feeling. And we have these energy centers in our body and they're real. They're measurable electromagnetically. It's not like something woo-woo or whatever. I mean, chakras, of course, are real. They have an electromagnetic frequency and they have a rotation. And like you said, they have a positive and negative polarity. You have to decide which one you're on. And so we can speak and sing from the different chakras. And so if you're speaking to me from your throat chakra, I'm going to feel it. I'm going to receive it in my throat chakra, like shaking someone's hand. You have to receive at the level.
Vibrational form of communication.
Yeah.
When you're speaking your truth, and that's the power of the chakra, the throat chakra.
Yeah.
Even to do it, even if it's uncomfortable, in a way that is loving, respectful, kind. Because some people, that's an overactive would be like when you get triggered and you start lashing out, you're saying everything. But that's not a balanced one, but that's how we actually rise into our higher self, is through the portal of the heart chakra. And this is how we get into our higher vibrations, everybody.
Yeah. That's actually, I'm glad you brought up the chakras, because this is actually a really big deal in music, because we were talking about high vibration and low vibration in music. And this is a very important distinction. So most popular music that you're going to hear, certainly not all, I try to be very careful not to speak in absolutes, but most of the pop music that you hear is going to be coming from the lower chakras. Everybody has the lower chakras turned on. Nothing wrong with the lower chakras. We all need them. But a lot of times it's activating emotional spaces and emotions in the first, second, and third chakras. That's typically what you're getting.
That's where most people are vibrating, is the lower chakras. So that's how we treat New Earth, everybody. We gotta rise.
Exactly. Yes. So if you know how to transmit from the higher chakras and you can sing or speak from the higher chakras, then people are going to receive at the higher chakras. So they're going to be opening themselves up to experiences that they're not going to be able to get in their daily life or in this kind of programmed space, programmed collective subconscious. So what did you say?
Matrix.
Yeah, exactly. The Matrix. Yeah. One thing that I think is so amazing about high frequency sounds, which I could go on for days, but I'm sure that what needs to come out and our talk will come out. But one of the things that I think is so beautiful is that we can actually find sound biologically created in our bodies and manifesting in the nucleus of our cells. So we have this new album, actually, White Sun has a new album called Tantrica. And when people hear Tantra or Tantric, they think sex. I don't know why. That's just what people think. I don't know. That's not anything I was ever taught or learned. But what we say, what the yogis say, is that we have what Tantra is the union of polarities. In Tibetan Buddhism, they certainly use that tantric energy, especially in the Vajrayana tradition. And what it is you take the two polarities and you can then manifest and create. And we can do that in our mouths. So we have 84 meridian points on the roof of our mouth. And the mouth, we say, is the cave of sound. And the tongue is the male principle inside that cave. And so when the tongue starts to use the meridians and type the code on the roof of the mouth, then between the male principle, the tongue, and the female principle, the mouth, and the meridian points, like the stars in the sky, we always say as within, so without, right? So outside we have stars and constellations and infinity, the infinity of the sky. And inside we have the infinity of our mouth, and we have the constellation constellations of the meridian points. And so we use the male and female principle to type in certain sound codes that then manifest as reality. And that's what a tantric practitioner does. Somebody that knows how to do that or has mastered that is a tantrika. So what people think tantra is, I don't know what they're talking about. They have to ask somebody else. But we, but in our tradition, it is sound. It's somebody who manifests through sound.
I know there's a lot of like tantric yogis out there.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I guess that.
Ask me. I'm like, no. I'm actually a yogi too. I teach like the asana practice, but I do kirtan. I love Kundalini and Kriya, all those things. I'm not like as devoted as you. It's it's really transformed my life. And I think it's so important. I had Kiran Khalsa on here as well. I don't know if you know her.
I don't, but it's funny because oftentimes people, you would think that I know a lot of people that I don't know. You would think, but yeah, I'm in such a specific bubble with my music and this kind of,
When you're in that creative flow, like it's hard when people like, want to interact with you in the 3D because you're like up here and you're like, oh my God, I have to come down here.
But I bet you get to meet so many amazing people in your work. You must meet so many amazing people. Well, you are one, right? Yeah. Amazing attracts amazing. But that's so wonderful. Well, it's, we found that these sounds, we create a lot of mantras in White Sun, and we found that these sounds, they start to take, when we say that they create or they manifest, what are we talking about? Well, we're talking about very literal change. I had somebody tell me that she suffered from abuse as a child. You'd never want to hear those stories, right? And she said that on and on for years and years, she suffered. And there was a song she was listening to of ours that she was attracted to, and she just wanted to hear it. And she was able to get herself out of that space. And she said that there was this one day that just tears, like a big release. And then she said that sort of space, that heaviness never bothered her again. It was like it dissolved and disappeared. And she said, the healing happened for me, and now I want to help my brother heal. Or there was a little boy, one of the classic stories that always sticks out in my mind is a little boy who had nightmares from the time before he could speak, right? He's a toddler, and he'd have horrible nightmares and waking up screaming, and his mom didn't know what to do. And furthermore, he couldn't explain what was happening. And then finally, when he was able to speak, he started to tell her that beings were coming to him in the night and like terrifying him. He said they're coming into his room. And so she put a protection mantra under his bed, and that same night they disappeared. And years go by, because I know the family, and they never came back. And the crazy thing is that she remembered that happening to her when she was a child. So it might have been like inherited, the beings that we're visiting, I
think that, like, I really do think that we not only inherit the traumas, we also inherit the like curses or whatever, the energies that cling to the lineage until we heal them.
Yeah. Totally. And so it's amazing that you say that, the energies that cling to the lineage, because if that was happening, it was healed by just pressing play on like a iPhone or something.
The words, especially in mantra, they hold it's a frequency. It's not even just a word. Like it's literally, I like how you use the word sound codes. I'm going to use that. It's code, right? It's like, it's if everything is vibration, then those lower vibrations can't like coexist with it, because it's just overpowering. It's so divine.
Yes. Yeah. It's one of the things that I learned, I feel like I learned this late. I feel like everyone else knows this except for me. But I probably discovered this like a year ago. But we grew up saying abracadabra all the time, right? It's like our, the one spell, quote unquote, we all learned. Although we're always casting spells, because spelling, the word spelling is when you spell something, you're casting a spell. Words are just so powerful. But abracadabra is Hebrew for I create as I speak.
Yeah.
And so that's the one spell we all learned is actually that our sound creates our reality. And I have a lot of these beautiful books. There's so many teachers out there that I admire and love. And there's this one book, The Teachings of Yogi Bhajan, that has all these quotes written in Nod. And one of them says, if people really understood what their words did, there's so many things they wouldn't say. Like if we really, really understood the impact of our words, we would be so much more careful about things to say and things not to say.
And not thinking, also thinking.
Yes, that's a sound too. Yeah, that's a sound too. And so when we speak, one of the teachings is that the sound waves never die. Once you have said it, you have created it. It doesn't just disappear. Energy just moves, right? It moves up, it moves down. So if you say something, it just lives on for infinity and manifests and manifests. And so we have to be, throughout creation, I guess. So we have to be careful about what we say, because we will set a sequence in motion. And we want to be sure that we are interested in that, that sequence benefits us ultimately. Yeah.
100%. So I'm so curious because what you said about that girl and how it healed her. And that's actually a very good point because, speaking on kind of the 3D music or mainstream music or matrix music, whatever you want to call it, people will resonate with music when they're going through some sort of hardship. And what they're actually doing, especially because it's lower vibrational and the lyrics and stuff, sometimes they're derogatory, and even the frequency of that is not a natural frequency. It's 440, which like disharmonizes us a little bit. But that being said too, like if you're listening to something that reminds you of the pain, you're creating more of that. And what people really need to be conscious of is to focus on the healing and doing something that makes you want to move. Like for me, like if I'm upset, I like dance. That is my sweet spot, It gets my singing is a new one for me. It gets me all vibrating.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, moving the energy through the body with dance, that's powerful.
Yeah. So I'm just curious because you mentioned that you have these words in your lyrics, whatever. Do you write your own lyrics?
So great question. No, not if they're mantra songs. We have some English songs. So in that case, yes, those are original. But with the mantra songs, they're ancient. They're very, very ancient sound codes, to use that phrase again. They come from a lot of different places. There's a mantra Gurujus that is on our new album, and that mantra is Sanskrit. And we talk about these languages being ancient yogic languages, and they truly are. These are not spoken languages. This is something that people, I think it's nice for people to understand. We do have an alphabet, and that alphabet is called Gurmukhi, and it looks like beautiful symbols. There's 35 beautiful symbols, and those symbols represent sound. The symbols themselves are sacred, and the sounds they create are sacred, and they all are associated with colors. And each letter has a color, has a chakra, has a planet, has a place inside the body. So we have this beautiful phonetic alphabet that helps us pronounce these ancient languages. But the ancient languages have one of the ways that they're translated is the language of smell. So they have a scent to them, it's like an anointed, once you start using the tantric power that the mouth and the tongue and the meridians give you, what you create is a new consciousness. And that consciousness has a scent to it. It's like, we think of the anointed ones, or, in every tradition you have some kind of sacred scent. The scent of the rose is, of course, very high frequency. The scent of sandalwood, very high frequency. So these sounds create the sense of being anointed by these divine smells and frequencies. And we actually, Gurumukhi, like I said, is the phonetic alphabet that we use to describe the sounds. And Gurumukhi Guru is the enlightened one, or the one that creates light from darkness, is the more literal translation. Mukhi is from the mouth of. So when we use this Gurumukhi alphabet, we are repeating the sounds that came from the mouth of those which transform darkness into light. So that's a long way to describe Gurumukhi, but that's what it is. It's, we want to create the same sounds that the ancient ones that could transform darkness into light. We want to create those sounds so we too can transform darkness into light.
I want to learn. It sounds so amazing.
It's really beautiful. It's a really, really beautiful phenomena. What's that?
You can make words that smell.
I know, isn't that? And then those scents have a frequency, which brings us back to sound.
That's what it is. It's the frequency actually, and just how we.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and you can think of frequency, anything that has a frequency, even if you can't hear it, of course, we're talking about a sound. And so if you think of like the smell of a cigarette, that's a bad smell. No one thinks that's a good smell. And if you think of the smell of the rose, it's a beautiful smell. They both have a vibration, right? And one's going to frequency match low and one's going to frequency match high. So it's like, what do you want to relate to? I think that if we listen to ourselves more, we'd have a very different world. If we listened to the words that we spoke and we made sure that those words were serving us, and we made sure that those words felt good when they exited our mouth, and we made sure that the person hearing those words was going to receive them and feel good, that those words are designed to uplift the other person. If humanity spent one day inside that exercise, we would be living in a different reality. That's a 100% certainty.
And that's what we're here to create.
Yes, Angela, yes.
Okay, so since you kind of touched a little bit about your band White Sun, which is it's a new age band. I'll let you describe it, but can you also walk us through the creative process when you're writing or producing the music for White Sun?
Yes.
And how do you balance your artistry with your intention? Because it's obvious that you're full of it. So
thank you. Yes. So White Sun is a band that I have with my teacher, actually. So this is my teacher, my spiritual teacher, and his name is Hari Jivan. And I kind of think of him as like a Clive Davis type of role. That might seem like a silly comparison, but so anyway, the music, I feel, has its own consciousness, and I feel that the songs and sounds have their own consciousness. And I feel that while this might seem a little bit on the mystical side, I really do think that the songs take on their own identity and soul, and it's like they have their own agenda to heal. In the East, people will personify the mantras. So they'll say, take a mantra. What's a mantra that you like?
The Gayatri mantra.
Okay, the Gayatri mantra, beautiful. So in the East, people will say, the Gayatri mantra gave me my job, or the Gayatri mantra, helped my daughter be born into the world, or the Gayatri mantra gave me the relationship or the wealth or the happiness, right? They personify the mantras, and then they feel that those mantras give them gifts. And I agree with the personification of the mantras, and I agree that they give us gifts. And I agree that those gifts are adaptogenic according to whatever it is that we need. So sometimes we talk about like herbs being adaptogenic.
I've never heard of it in this context before, but I'm all very into nutrition too. So
it's so fun. So if we think of an herb like triphala, saffron, something like that, chaga, if we think of these high frequency foods, herbs, helpers that we put into our body, a lot of people think that they're beings. Like if you listen to Paul Stamets talk about medicinal mushrooms, he talks about them like an actual race of beings that came here.
They are, man.
I know, they so are. They so are. That's a whole other day we need to spend with each other. But anyway, so what he says about those medicinal mushrooms is that they will go into your body and heal whatever it is that your body needs healed. And in the case of, isn't it true? And in the case of his mother, they healed her cancer. And so we feel they did. He has a whole story about turkey tail healing his mother's cancer. And we feel that the mantras have a similar mission. And we feel that they, if you listen to the Gayatri mantra and I listen to the Gayatri mantra, it's going to do something different for each one of us, as long as it's recorded correctly and pronounced correctly and all that stuff. But for you, it's going to do something special. For me, it's going to do something special, but it's going to be different because you and me are different beings. Mm-hmm. And the Gayatri mantra, it's like our friend and our angel guide or whatever it is. And it serves both of us differently. And that's how we feel about all these mantras, is they have their own personality and they want to help. They want to uplift. They have their own agenda. And so each person, it's going to look a little different. So when we say play a mantra in your house, first of all, just play a mantra in your house. Like, it's time, guys. If you're listening, just play a high frequency sound in your house. Press play and just leave it on 24/7. If you do it on your phone, it's not going to stay on 24/7 because you got to use your phone. If you do it on your laptop, it's not going to stay on 24/7. So find an old phone, find an ancient iPod in a drawer somewhere, buy like a $25 speaker on Amazon and plug it in, and don't unplug it. Because if you put these high vibrational frequency sounds in your environment, everything in your environment will change. I recently, Recently, a friend of mine moved, and she brought all her mantras with her and plugged them in. And she said almost immediately after she moved, her neighbor put her house on the market and moved away. She was like, I think I changed the frequency, and I think my neighbor didn't want to be there anymore. And actually, her story is a story we hear a lot, where people come or people go wherever the frequency changes. But for our interest, the individual, if we can put a mantra on in our environment, then things that don't serve us will leave, and things that do serve us will come. Mm-hmm. And more is more. The more you listen, the better. And so how do you find one? Well, just how we were just talking, are you attracted to reishi? Are you attracted to chaga? Are you attracted to saffron? Or are you attracted to ginseng? It's just what feels right to you. And just like a relationship with another human being, why would you date somebody and not somebody else? Because of a vibe, right? Mm-hmm. So you find the mantra that vibes with you, and you form a relationship with it, and it will serve you. It will heal you. It will help you. It will uplift you. It will be there for you. It's like a spiritual friend. So to answer your question about creating them, they kind of tell me what to do. They do. They'll like tell me what to do. And recently I went to this day-long meditation called White Tantric Yoga, where you meditate across from another person. And you do it all day, and using the tantric energy that we described earlier, it's a very powerful meditation. So I was in there. Now I'm going to out myself, but I was in there, and there's all these people in the room, and we're like locked in. You're locked into your partner, and everyone's super locked in. And this song came to me, and I was like, I gotta meditate, but like it's coming to me now, and I know from experience that the melody will leave, usually, not always. Sometimes it'll come again and again, but it might leave, and I really like this melody, and I really need to remember it, and so I have to do it right now. So I snuck and sung it into my voice memos really quick during the meditation, and then put my phone down. And oftentimes it'll happen like that. Oftentimes it'll just come to me in like meditation or in an instant, and usually I'll get like a snippet of the song, and then the rest comes later.
I love that. I'm in the process of publishing my first book.
Congratulations. I saw that on your website.
Yeah, so it's actually, I'm doing a Feed Your Chakras series, okay? And the first book is the prequel to the series, which I wasn't expecting to write. I went off and I left the country so I could focus. I was working diligently on the root because, we have to ground and root and heal the ancestral trauma first. And then I kept getting guided. And it's like, I get the same thing. It's like little snippets. Sometimes it's words, sometimes it's like sound, sometimes it's instruction, sometimes it's feelings. But I feel that the more that you actually, do the work and whatever, they come to you more. But I've always been very intuitive. But I wrote a whole book. And it's also on that sense because that we're talking about the lower vibrations is so many people are infected or infested with parasites, but not just physical parasites. I mean, those two, more than people would believe. But it has 4 pillars, which is environmental, energetic, spiritual, and then physical. So I have, recipes, I have rituals for, like burning ceremonies and stuff. And then even with the spiritual, I had experiences with dark entities as when I was younger and stuff. So
wow, you did.
Yeah. And I'm like, I had kind of a traumatic childhood, but I've done a lot of work. And it's so funny because people they would have no idea. right? Because
No.
now I'm living my truth,
Yeah.
like I'm open and I'm active.
Yeah.
And that's actually what I want to do with the series, is to help other people heal, because the world needs so much healing, because we are in the lower three chakras.
Yeah.
And people don't have this literacy. Like I love that you can do it and tie in the science, because it's not woo woo. Like, this is ancient knowledge that needs to resurface now.
Absolutely. To me, it's a very natural marriage of Western medicine and Eastern medicine. If we are going to talk about the biology of change in the body, when we do type those codes in the roof of the mouth, of course, they're connected to meridians, but they're also connected to the hypothalamus, into the pituitary, and into the pineal gland. And so because they're connected to the glandular system, those glands are going to produce peptides, hormones also, right? They're going to produce peptides, and then the peptides are distributed to the body. This is just, you talk to any biologist in the world, they can tell you about peptides and how they're distributed and how they're made. Mm-hmm. But what vibration are they being made with? Well, you're going to choose. You're going to choose how well are the glands functioning? How well is the hypothalamus functioning? You mentioned earlier how every chakra has a polarity, negative and positive. So are you going to be producing peptides that have low frequencies in them or high frequencies in them? Well, if you're typing in a high frequency code, then they're going to have high frequencies in them. And what do peptides do? They dock onto your cells. They're distributed through the whole system. They dock onto the cells. And in some cases, they'll change the nucleus of the cell itself. And this is how we very, very much become the sound that we then create. If you look at instruments, we talked about initially a little bit about our bodies being instruments. If you look at instruments of ancient times and you study string instruments and how they started, originally they had one string. They had one. And then they had a resonant chamber. So that one string, we learned from the yogis, that string is the Sushmana, the central channel of the spine. They built the first instruments based on the human body, which was the original instrument. Wow. So the spine and the Sushmana was the one string, and the resonant chamber is the rib cage, and the heart is the rhythm to the song that is constantly played on the human body. And then you add two more strings and you get a 3-stringed instrument. So you have prana, apana, Sushmana. You have the Ida, the Pingala, and the Sushmana. You have the 3 channels then, the central channel and left, right channel. And then what goes up the channel? The Kundalini. So the Kundalini is the energy of awakening that's in us, but is dormant unless we wake it up with the vibration, right? Of the surge. Yeah, and we even call them strings. Surs in the body, S-U-R-S, they translate as strings. These are strings that we play our own vibrational instrument on. And so I just went from Western science to Eastern science, right? It's a very natural marriage for me, and it's one and the same for me. I know that it's not. I don't know. I guess I see it differently.
I'm also an artist, and in ancient times, art, science, and spirituality were the same thing.
Yeah.
They are the same thing. Not they were. That was just the way we think about it, but it really is the same thing. And we need, because for me, as an artist, I get a lot of downloads because I'm very, multi-versed in a lot of different types of art, right? I'm walking art. That's how I describe myself. But it's like one of my purposes is to translate the divine messages I get into the world so that other people can experience it that they haven't awakened their capacity, because we all have it within us.
Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's also one of the missions of, like you said, you're walking art. And there's we are walking art. I can see that. When you said that, I was like, yeah, she is walking art. But this is one of the things that I think about is, of course, there's all different paths on the planet, all different beings, and there's all different vibrations and people who are consciously in one place and consciously in another place. And I think of Dr. Wayne Dyer, whose teachings I don't really know, but he transformed a lot of lives. And there's one thing that he said that really stuck with me for many years now, which is he decided, somehow in his calculation, he said that one person vibrating at a high frequency can offset 250,000 people vibrating at a low frequency. which is quite a statement. One person at a high frequency can offset, in other words, uplift 250,000 people vibrating at a lower frequency, because higher vibrations are more powerful, right? And so I thought that was very interesting. And I do feel that that's true. I feel that whatever that number is, I think it can be increased. You know, the more powerful we become, the more that number, the more people we can offset. So all these people out there that are listening to you, they're going to be light workers too. And they're going to be people that are wanting to uplift others too, and that have good intentions and want to walk around the planet Earth creating good feelings. And just so you know, everybody that's doing that, you guys are offsetting people who aren't able to do that. And so as you uplift yourself, you're naturally uplifting others. And it's a great service. And, you know, I try to do that through my music. That's definitely my intention from day one.
That's so beautiful. You know, it's so funny. I had all these questions today, but I just love how everything's just flowing and it's perfectly in sync. Anyways, we are kind of running short on time, and I have a whole bunch of questions I still want to ask you, but I also was wondering if you'd like to sing. Share. Yeah, would you like to do a song?
Gosh, wow, sure. I mean, I'll sing for you. I don't have any accompaniment, any instrumentation, but there's this one song. I have my voice box. So there's this one sound that I kind of like to warm up with when I'm warming up my voice, and it's not recorded. So I'll just sing that. Shah He Shah Na Shaha is like the great of the great, the emperors of the emperors. And we're talking about, you know, that being that transforms darkness into light. So I'll sing my warm up, which is actually a song. Hey. Shahan Shahe Shahan Shah Shahe Shahan Shah Guru Govinda Singh.
Ooh, I know that the music that it doesn't even sound as good because you're on the thing, but it like I felt the vibrations in that. It was
good. I'm glad. I'm glad you felt it. Yeah. It feels good to sing. You know, anybody who you think you're a singer, you think you're not a singer, it doesn't really matter. If you have a voice, then you can sing. And you have gamma rays, you have gamma waves inside your mind, and singing releases the gamma waves. And we have mantra is man, you know, trang, mantra comes from mantra, and that's the wave of the mind. Trang is wave, man is mind. So create a wave of the mind that serves you, not a wave of the mind that works against you.
Yes.
So, yeah.
I love that. Okay, so let's just give our viewers one more thing before we take away, because I also agree with what you said about what Wayne Dyer said, in that we can the positive shift is stronger and more powerful than the lower vibrational ones. And there's things that we can do to help raise our vibration if you find that you're not just naturally, like your natural disposition isn't to be super positive. But also to that point, the more that we do this, the more we collectively raise the consciousness, and this is how we create new earth, because the Maharishi effect has also been measured. And that's where they have, real serious meditators gathered together. I don't know how many it was. It was like 2,000 or 200. Anyways, the crime rates drastically dropped in like surrounding area. So it has been scientifically proven. So just to that extent, like we can exponentially raise the consciousness of this planet. And then, you know, a lot of these material matrix problems that are hindering our progress and creating all this chaos and suffering or whatever, it doesn't need to exist, because it's like everything is here. That is the lack is the illusion. Anyways, I'm sorry, I'm getting sidetracked. I feel like we can talk.
I love it. I'm like, where's the study? I need the study of the meditators that lower the crime rate.
Everybody look it up. It's been proven, and it's really beautiful. But anyways, let's give some people some practical tools, because I have been, you know, consciously changing my vibration over years, you know, with the
Mhm.
music that I listen to. I don't actually, I mean, I'm a dancer, so I sometimes listen to mainstream music, but that's whatever.
Yeah, of course.
You know, but I love to listen to medicine music, as I call it. I do listen to mantras. I listen to songs that honor Gaia or Mother Nature, like the
Mm.
divine feminine, whatever, right? Whatever feels good. You mentioned even listening to mantras or just singing. Let's give some
Mhm.
people some different tools so we can help them shift their vibration.
Yeah. So by far and away, the most powerful thing you can do happens to be the easiest thing you can do also. Most powerful thing is the easiest, guys. Just play a mantra, I beg of you, in your house, especially when you sleep. And find a device. The biggest challenge for you is going to be to find a device that can be dedicated 24/7 to the mantra. If you haven't found that device yet, plug in your phone at night and play a mantra that you like on repeat. Please, please, please. Because what's going to happen is that that vibration is going to go into your body and do everything that Angela and I talked about this whole almost hour now, right? Is that it's going to start to change the waves of the mind. It's going to start to change the biology of the system. It's going to start to change the way that the neurons fire in the brain. It's going to start to cleanse the body of things that don't serve you anymore, emotions that don't serve you, stuck energies that don't serve you. We have a subconscious mind, we have an individual consciousness, and we have a universal consciousness. And when we listen to these mantras, they clean out the subconscious mind so that individual can merge with universal, and we enter into higher states of bliss. And we can leave things that don't serve us. They'll just drop out of the aura. They'll drop out of the subconscious. They'll drop out of the face of the body. You know, people start to look different. They start to act different. They start to feel different. All you have to do is listen. Please just listen, listen to something. And if people don't want to listen to mantras at night, we have white sun gong. White sun gong, it's just gong. You could tell somebody it's white noise and they won't know the difference. Or like if you can sleep with the refrigerator running, then you can sleep with the gong playing. It's like, don't think you can't sleep. So take these sounds and play them in your environment and allow the change to occur. Now, why is it so important that it happens at night? Because between the hours of 3 and 6 a.m. is when your subconscious is wide open, and they're the most critical time for you to be putting a high frequency sound into you. That's when the weird dreams happen and all that stuff. So, and the wild yogis of the world are awake during that time, because the subconscious, you can get a lot done in your yoga and meditation during that time. But if you're sleeping, it's essential that you have a mantra going in.
Yes. Actually, last night, I wasn't listening to a mantra, forgive me, but I was listening to sound healing, which is also frequency. And so I'll do ones. Last night I did one, and it was just, it was the 13 chakras. I mean, I know there's more than 13, but that's what I listened to. It just kind of works through it. And even though I was dancing last night and I got home late, I was like, I wake up and I feel great. I'm also just smiling from our conversation is making me happy.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a big change from listening to nothing and then listening to a high frequency. It's a big shift. I had somebody who, I have several worlds. I have the world of yoga and meditation, and then I have the music world. And to me, it's the same world, but to the rest of the collective, it's not, right? So I have, beautiful musicians and people that I work with in that realm, and then yogis and things in the other realm. And so a lot of my musician friends and colleagues, they're not into the yoga. Why should they be? They have a different path, and they're super talented. So there was one guy who was telling me he was depressed. And he told me he was depressed for a long time, and I kept hearing it. And I tried to help him because he's just an incredible person. And I tried to help him by talking to him, and it wasn't working. And so eventually I said, you have to play something in your home, because that's what I have to offer you is this technology. And he was like, no. And so I just did it myself, Angela. I just plugged it in myself in his home. And I haven't heard, maybe that was a year ago now, and I haven't heard a complaint about depression since then. Nothing.
Love it.
He's doing amazing. I put it in his bedroom, and I put it inside of like a cabinet closet thing. So it really wouldn't bother him. And he says that he forgets about it. He forgets that it's there, but he's a much happier person. He's a much happier person. And so anybody who you think you're not a yogi, or you think that what we're talking about is super wild and you don't resonate with it, just resonate with practicality then. You know, put something in your life, a sound in your life that will serve you.
Mm-hmm. And it's just even the choice to be open, because sometimes people get addicted to their own misery, which sounds like, oh no, I don't want help, you know, but then it's like, oh wait, this actually feels good.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's a common one.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. Okay, so thank you, Gurujas, for your wisdom and your frequency and your heart. Your presence reminds us that true mastery is not about performance, but alignment and expression, and allowing the divine to sing through us. And to everybody listening, thank you so much for tuning in, and may today's conversation inspire you to listen beyond the noise, to the silence, to the heartbeat, and the sacred sound within you waiting to be expressed. And if this episode resonated with your soul, please like, share, and subscribe. It helps this message of light reach even more hearts across the world. And you can connect with Gurujas through through her teachings at Vocal Lab, which I never even got time to talk about today. You can also find her music, White Sun. And you can share your handles here if you'd like. It's Gurujas Khalsa, I believe, Khalsa. And for more chakra-powered conversations, join us at feedyourchakras.ca. So until next time, stay grounded, stay radiant, and keep feeding your chakras. Peace, love, and infinite blessings.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.